10 News begins with breaking news.
I heard, I would say at least 10, 12, maybe even 15 shots. I heard a lot of swearing.
Worshippers described the heart-stopping moment a gunman stormed into a Poway synagogue and opened fire. Good evening, I'm Vanessa Van Hefty. Right now, we know that one person was killed, 3 others are injured. This all played out on the last day of Passover, one of the most holy days on the Jewish calendar. We are also awaiting 2 different news conferences, which we will bring to you live. We have team coverage, starting with 10 News reporter Rena Nakano, who joins us live outside of Chabad of Poway. Rena.
Yeah, good evening. It's a very solemn feeling outside here at the Chabad in Poway. Again, like you said, we are awaiting that press conference, the secondary one by the Sheriff's Department, police, and also FBI. They're all working on this case. What we do know so far is 3 people in stable condition, 1 person dead, 1 person in custody, and there is no danger to the community. It was supposed to be a merry Passover holiday celebration. But for Minu Anvari, that sense of peace and blessing was shattered.
My heart stopped. Said, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Is everybody okay?"
Her husband was inside the Chabad Community Center Synagogue Saturday morning at 11:20 when a gunman opened fire.
4 individuals were wounded and transported to Palomar Hospital.
Anvari found out her husband was spared, but her friend did not make it.
Well, one of my friends, Lori K, is down.
She says the rabbi leading the prayer service was shot in the hand. 2 of his fingers were blown off, but he continued to speak to the congregation.
In spite of losing his finger, he was bleeding. He was trying to finish his speech.
Just after the shooting spree, an off-duty Border Patrol agent attending the event ran out and shot at the suspect's car. Minutes later, a San Diego police officer spotted the suspect sitting inside his car about a mile west near Rancho Bernardo Road and I-15.
As the officer was placing this 19-year-old male into custody, he clearly saw a rifle sitting on the front passenger seat of the suspect vehicle.
He was taken into custody without further incident.
Religiously, they can't touch their phone.
As for Anvari, she's worried for the 100 people still inside the synagogue. Remember, this happened during the holy day of Shabbat, a time where believers are not allowed to use technology until sundown.
I feel bad for the rest of people that they don't have any communication and they don't know what's happening.
That means many of them have no choice but to be left in the dark. And back out here live, we have not seen any of the worshipers come out of the synagogue yet. We are told by Sheriff's Department that there are about 100 witnesses that still need to be interviewed. So this area should be closed off for a good portion of today into tomorrow. Just out of this car behind me, we just saw the mayor of Poway step out. So that press conference should be happening shortly. And when it does, we will have it live right here on 10 News and 10news.com. Reporting live in Poway tonight, I'm Rena Nakano, 10 News.
And Rena will be back with you in just a moment. Thank you. But we want to continue this breaking coverage in Rancho Penasquitos, where investigators have swarmed the home of the suspected shooter. 10 News reporter Cassie Carlo is live where police are surrounding the home that they believe belongs to that suspected shooter. Cassie.
Right, Vanessa, it's been a very tense couple of hours here in this neighborhood. You can see the heavy police presence. This is where people are actually getting turned around on Freeport Road, but it's down around the corner where you can see more officers. That's on Freeport Court, where they're waiting to serve that search warrant. After leaving the synagogue, the suspected shooter was pulled over by San Diego police on I-15 and Rancho Bernardo Road.
Suspect pulled over, jumped out of his car with his hands up, and was immediately taken into custody by the San Diego Police Department. As the officer was placing this 19-year-old male into custody, he clearly saw a rifle sitting on the front passenger seat of the suspect vehicle.
While police have not identified him, multiple sources say he's 19-year-old John Ernest. Shortly after, officers flooded this neighborhood.
Why are there so many police cars on this street? There's not normally anything going on here, ever.
Putting the quiet neighborhood on lockdown.
We got to stay inside the house for some reason, just for safety reasons. They told us a man shot up a synagogue, and apparently he lives here, so they're evacuating, people that live around.
A woman visibly upset as she sees the scene. Officers say they were the parents of the suspect. The man comforting her and an officer guiding her up the street away from the home. shock setting in.
I wouldn't think that anyone from around this neighborhood would do something like that.
It's like, wow, it's weird.
Neighbors say the Ernest family kept to themselves, leaving them wondering, how could this happen? There is a family down there that is being escorted by an officer to their home because this whole neighborhood is still on lockdown. One neighbor told me that there's 6 kids that belong to this family, so that's why they're taking so long. They're concerned there might be some more people inside the home, and officers are telling me this road could be shut down for the next couple hours. Reporting live in Rancho Penasquitos, Cassie Carlisle, 10 News.
Cassie, thank you. And that suspected shooter Cassie mentioned, just 19 years old, John Ernest, left an open letter on his Facebook page. That page has now been taken down, but in it, just over 8 pages of anti-Semitic hate. In one part, he wrote and answered his own questions, writing, "How long did it take you to plan this attack?" And he answers, 4 weeks. Another said, "Do you feel remorse for what you did?" "I feel no remorse. I only wish I killed more people." He went on to claim to have been the one to set fire at the mosque in Escondido back in March, referencing the New Zealand mosque shooter. He wrote, "I scorched a mosque in Escondido with gasoline a week after Brenton Tarrant's sacrifice, and they never found expletive on me." And 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner live at Palomar Medical Center in Escondido, where we know 4 people were taken there. Jen, you're learning a lot more about the victim and those survivors.
Vanessa, we are, and this is where the rabbi was taken. He's in the hospital just behind us. One of his friends came to visit him about 30 minutes ago. This friend was also at the shooting, was in temple for services. This friend had spots of blood over his shirt. He came to visit the rabbi here and said the rabbi is devastated. He was shot in the hand, and he also sustained injuries that are going to be very difficult for him to overcome.
Thank you, Jen, and we'll get back to you in a moment. We want to take you live right now to that news conference with the Sheriff's Department. Let's listen in.
Shooting at the Chabad Mosque this afternoon. The suspect has been widely reported. Identify the suspect as John Ernest, date of birth 6/8/99, age 19. He's a San Diego resident. As best we can tell, had no prior arrest records in San Diego. We're currently preparing search warrants, which is the timely process, for the residence, Ernst residence, for his vehicle, and for the mosque in Poway. Pardon me, for the synagogue in Poway. We're collecting digital evidence, and we're aware of his manifesto, which we're in the process of reviewing to determine its validity and authenticity. As you know, one person tragically died in the shooting today. And an update on the other victims. One's currently gone into surgery. One adult male is in stable condition at the hospital, and the juvenile has been in stable condition. She's been transported to Rady's Children's Hospital. We're currently working with the Escondido Police Department and the FBI to determine Ernst's possible involvement in the arson at the mosque in Escondido about a month ago. And the San Diego Sheriff's Department and the San Diego Police Department are conducting additional patrols at houses of worship throughout San Diego County. As I stated before, the Anti-Defamation League is offering crisis trauma counseling at Poway High School, and there's also a county crisis line that's available to anybody that needs their services. That's 888-724-7240. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We urge everyone to stay vigilant and report any unusual circumstances to 911, and guarantee you they will be promptly investigated and responded to. We're lucky in San Diego County to have the kind of cooperation we do. Just a few of the agencies have been working on this case so far, with the Sheriff's Department, San Diego Police Department, San Diego Fire, San Diego FBI, California Highway Patrol, Escondido Police Department, ATF, California Office of Emergency Services, and the U.S. Border Patrol. Also with me today, again, is Mayor Steve Voss of Poway, and the Acting Special Agent in charge of the FBI locally, Susanna Turner, and behind me, Congressman Scott Peters.
We'd be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Could you identify him again, please, for us?
His name is John Ernest, date of birth 6/8/99. He's 19 years old, and as far as we can tell, has had no prior contact with law enforcement.
And it looks like he said that he could be behind this mosque burning in Escondido.
We're looking into the possibility of his involvement in the mosque burning in Escondido back a month ago.
What ties him to that?
Well, some of the digital evidence that we're reviewing right now. I can't go into any more detail on that.
Do you know what kind of a gun or rifle or anything that was used in it?
As far as I can tell right now, it's a assault type rifle, AR-15 type rifle. I don't have the specifics.
Sheriff, is this being investigated as a hate crime at this point?
Well, it's being investigated as a homicide, but we're also looking at the hate crime possible violation as well as federal civil rights violations.
Did he say anything when he was arrested?
I'm not going to go into that now. He's being thoroughly interviewed by homicide detectives and FBI agents.
Are there any links with other white supremacists in the county?
I'm sorry?
Are there any links with white supremacists?
We don't right now have any connection between Mr. Ernest and any white supremacist groups.
Did he have any run-ins with the police prior to today?
We have no record of police contact prior to today.
There was a report that somebody saw his post on social media before the shooting and contacted the FBI. Can you address that?
What was the question?
Whether the FBI was contacted by anyone who saw his social media post.
Prior to? I'm not aware of any, no.
We're also hearing that he attempted to live stream the attack, but something happened. Confirm that may have been.
I can't confirm that right now. No.
Sheriff, do you know if any explosives?
Sure, during the last news conference, sir.
Do you know if any explosives were found inside?
To this point, no explosives have been found at the synagogue.
And are dozens still inside right now being questioned?
Yes.
Was the rifle the only weapon confiscated?
As far as I know, yes, that's correct.
Was there any exchange of gunfire during his arrest?
No, there was not.
Sheriff, earlier you were mentioning there were about 100 people that investigators still need to talk to.
Yeah.
Have they been spoken to, or what's the status with the witnesses?
No, the status of the witnesses, they are still at the, my understanding is they're at the rabbi's house behind the synagogue, waiting to be contacted by FBI agents and deputy sheriffs.
What would you like to say to this congregation, because tomorrow is Sunday? Typically there's Hebrew school at most synagogues. Is that going to go on tomorrow, or should people stay away from the area?
I would refer that to the synagogue. I don't know what their immediate plans will be. As far as we will have extra patrols in the area, as will San Diego Police Department, around most of our houses of worship in San Diego County. Hopefully nobody will try to copycat this tragic event here that took place in Poway today.
Was rabbis committed during the incident?
Yeah, my understanding is the rabbi was one of the individuals that was injured in the shooting.
Can you elaborate, please, on whatever interventions happened which may have saved lives in the entire assault process?
Well, as I stated before, there was a Border Patrol officer off duty at the synagogue, and as the Ernst was leaving the facility, he obtained a weapon and engaged in gunfire and shot at Ernest. Did not hit him, but there was appears that he did put some bullet holes in the car that Ernst was driving.
What capacity was he here, as a congregant or as security?
As a security guard, I believe.
Sheriff, what can you tell us about the victim? How many shots did she receive?
I don't have those details.
Okay, last question. So as far as the way that this ended, you know, the fact that he left at some point, did he leave because of the response from the CBP officer, or did he leave on his own and the CBP officer saw him?
We're not sure. A lot of this will be developed during the investigation. There's indications that his gun might have malfunctioned after firing numerous rounds.
Sheriff, what can you tell the community about the sense of fear at this moment in the whole county?
Well, I think we've seen these tragic events all over the United States, and all I can tell the people out there that see this on their TV is that your law enforcement agencies, federal, state, and local in San Diego County are vigilant, and we will provide the type of security, hopefully, that will prevent this from happening in the future. But sadly, we're seeing this happen all too often around our country, and it's tragic, especially when it happens here in our own backyard.
Okay, if you have any other, well, we'll put in updates through the Sheriff's Communication Center and through a media release if anything else breaks during this investigation. Okay, thank you.
And we're just hearing from Sheriff Bill Gore, if you were just joining us right now, again confirming that shooter, just 19 years old, John Ernest. He said that he has no prior arrests, and some promising news that we're learning from the sheriff just now in this news conference. He confirmed that there was one adult male just out of surgery in stable condition, and another juvenile taken to Rady also in stable condition. Some good news that we are learning from this. And now we want to go to 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner. She's live at Palomar Medical Center in Escondido, where they were taken.
Hello, I'm Diane Hansen, President and CEO for Palomar Health. And I would just like to say on behalf of the Palomar Health Board of Directors and our staff, how very sorry we are, and our deepest condolences go out to all of those affected by the senseless act of tragedy that occurred today. Palomar Health takes the role of keeping our community safe very seriously. This event is something that we hope will never happen, but is absolutely something that we are completely prepared to handle. Palomar Health has some of the best physicians and nursing staff in the nation, and today we were able to provide that level of care to those who needed it most. My heart and the heart of this organization go out to this community. It is our job to take care of them in these kinds of times. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Michael Katz, one of our trauma surgeons.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Michael Katz. I'm the Associate Trauma Director for Palomar Medical Center, as well as the trauma surgeon on call today. Today at approximately 11:45 a.m., we received an initial alert of a patient with a gunshot wound injury. Shortly after that, we were informed that there would be multiple gunshot wound victims. We received 2 males as well as 2 females here at the hospital. They range in age from 1 minor to 3 adults, the oldest being 60 years old. The one victim arrived with life-threatening injuries, and we did everything that we possibly could, but we were unfortunately unsuccessful, and the patient did not survive. The other 3 victims are doing well with their injuries. I would like to express my sincerest condolences to not only the victims' families, and of course everyone who was there at the Chabad today, and everyone involved.
Can you tell us about the other victims' injuries?
Yes. The probably largest injury goes to the rabbi. The Rabbi Goldstein sustained what is most likely a defensive wound, where he has injuries to both index fingers. I spoke with him prior to coming out here. He is actually in surgery right now. He will most likely lose his right index finger, and the injury to his left index finger hopefully will not necessitate him having the finger removed. There was a 34-year-old male who received some shrapnel injury, and the minor also received shrapnel injury to the leg as well as the face.
Was the minor, was she taken to a Rady Children's?
She was initially taken here and evaluated, where she was found to have shrapnel in both the leg as well as the face, which we would want to monitor her overnight. So for monitoring, she is currently being transferred to Rady Children's Hospital.
Are you able to say how old she is?
I'm sorry?
Are you able to say how old she is?
No, just that she's a minor.
And for the deceased victim, can you say where that person was shot?
Unfortunately, I have not spoken with the family to allow privacy release, so I'm not able to speak on the details of her gunshot injuries.
So the 3 people who were injured during the survivors, they do not have life-threatening injuries?
No, they do not have life-threatening injuries. They are all gunshot injuries, the rabbi being to the hands and the other two being shrapnel injuries. But I would expect them to make good recoveries. As I was saying, the rabbi is most likely going to be losing his right index finger.
How were they transported?
They were transported by ambulance here.
Can you tell us about the emotional state of the rabbi?
The rabbi is appropriately upset. When I spoke with him, he spoke about how not only in 2019, but on the last day of Passover, to have such a tragedy as this happen in America and in California is unspeakable, and I agree with him.
Will the victims? I'm sorry, the survivors. Will they all be staying? The victims, will they be staying overnight?
So the minor was transferred to Rady Children's Hospital. Of the two remaining, the rabbi and the other gentleman will most likely at least be staying overnight. The rabbi, I would think, probably a few days and then home.
Can you describe the security measures that are in place right now for the victims? The fact that Sheriff's Department is here, and they've got a person assigned to each room?
Absolutely. When I went to speak with each person, there was sheriff's deputies in the rooms with them at all times.
Describe what that's like to have regarding people, why they're there, and the comfort that it's caused helping the families?
I think it's not only a necessary but an appropriate measure to have armed guards in the room with them, especially in the face of a anti-Semitic motivated shooting.
How are the families able to, or where are the families being held, and how are they being taken care of?
Sure. The families are obviously distraught, appropriately so. The different family members are in different locations. The father of the minor is with her, and then the extensive family of the deceased, some are here and some I'm sure are back at home.
Has the hospital provided any counseling for family members?
Yes, we have provided both religious and non-religious support. One of the things that is important for us as a hospital is to be there not only for the families but also for the community. In such a time of such a tragic event, it's important to be a supportive mechanism for everyone involved.
And again, can you just address the safety measures, describe the safety measures for us that are in place right now?
With regard to the victims?
Just the whole scenario.
Sure. As normal, we have our normal security here at the hospital, as we always have. One of the things to know is that while mass shootings are rare, gunshot wound victims for us are not. This is something that we take care of on a daily basis. We are here 24/7 to take care of those that are injured by all types of trauma, including gunshot wounds, and our security force is part of that, is part of keeping us safe here. And specifically in this, on top of our normal security force, we also have San Diego County sheriffs.
Doctor, to clarify, so the deceased was hit by gunfire. The rabbi was hit by gunfire. The other two survivors were hit by shrapnel, but not gunshots?
They were hit by shrapnel from bullets.
Can you describe the bullets? If you can do that, if you can describe the injuries from the type that was used. There are some speculation about the type of weapon used.
It would be difficult for me to speculate on the type of weapon as I was not there. That would be difficult for me to do.
So would it be accurate to say 4 people shot?
Yes, I would say that's accurate, being that we have the deceased who was shot, the rabbi who was shot, and then while the other two received only shrapnel, it was shrapnel from a bullet that was shot. Yes, I would agree with that.
Did the hospital have you guys removed bullets from the victims?
In general, we usually do not remove bullets. That's more of a theatrical thing, removing bullets from patients. That being said, there was a small piece of shrapnel that was in the minor's hair that was removed and I believe turned over to the sheriff's department. But the idea of going after bullets in patients is really more theatric.
What was your reaction when you first got word
My reaction was twofold. You know, on a professional side, this is what I do. It's very sad. It's something that you hope never has to happen, but that's why we're here. You know, I analogize it to the fire department. You know, you never want to have your house catch fire, but you're happy that the fire department's there when they are. Of course, on a personal level, anyone sustaining a gunshot wound is of course distressing, and then a mass shooting, and then what appears to be an anti-Semitic mass shooting, you know, hits home for me personally.
And I got here a little late. Can you go back with the ages of the victims?
Sure. There was one minor. There's a 34-year-old, a 57-year-old rabbi, and then a 60-year-old. You know, the hospital staff is obviously shaken, as they would be with any situation like this. The hospital is providing support, emotional support for that as well as counseling. Because we are a trauma center, these sort of things, which are very dramatic and difficult, come to us, and we have to be strong. But we, of course, appreciate the support that the hospital provides, and they provide it very well.
Doctor, running down the ages again, so the deceased is the 60-year-old woman?
Correct.
And then the rabbi is 57?
Correct.
And then a 34-year-old adult male?
Yes, 34-year-old adult male and a minor.
And a minor female?
Female.
Do you expect anyone briefings this evening?
Not that I know of. Thank you. My last name is, I'm sorry. My last name is Katz, K-A-T-Z. First name is Michael.
And there you have the Dr. Michael Katz.
And we were just listening to Dr. Michael Katz from Palomar Medical Center. He was the trauma surgeon there today treating those 4 people. And some good news that he shared with us, the 3 survivors, he says, are all doing well. We will have more on this breaking news story tonight out of Poway. Right now, we're going to go to World News Tonight, and we'll be back at 6 o'clock.